Assalamu alaikum. Today we are going to do kinds of reading. This is what I am going to cover in this video. Reading style, extensive reading, intensive reading, and subtype of intensive readings are scanning, skimming, exploratory reading, study reading, critical reading, analytical reading, and developmental reading. Let's talk about the reading styles first, reading aloud and reading silently. Basically, reading aloud is what you are doing actually from your school level, right? When your teacher asks you to read out the text so that you can check the pronunciation and your accent, right? So reading aloud is when usually used when the students are unable to read, or when they are, especially when they are beginners, right? Then only reading aloud is allowed. The second type is reading silently. Reading silently means reading only through eyes, without moving lips, without moving your lips, without moving your finger, and without moving your pen or pencil, anything, whatever you have in your hand, and without moving your tongue as well. So it's only and only through eyes. When you read silently, then your reading speed increases, and especially at this level, you should read silently so that you should have a good reading skill. When we are talking about the reading skills, then it means we are talking about reading silently, not reading aloud. Okay, because reading aloud only takes place at school level, and when we want to improve the reading skills of the students, it means that we have to train them for reading silently, reading through eyes only. Okay, so these are the two types or styles of reading. Then this is the first kind of reading kind that we are going to do, extensive reading. Extensive reading, as I've already explained, that it's reading for pleasure, any topic of interest that you want to read on your own. It's not a task given by the teacher nor any assignment. The main purpose is to relax and enjoy yourself. Comics, humorous stories, tales, novels, short articles in the newspaper, magazines, jokes, anything which you want to read for pleasure, for relaxing yourself, is known as extensive reading. Intensive reading is when you are reading carefully and in depth. You read for the details and extract specific information for a particular topic. The kind of the reading you do when you study, prepare a term paper, like for example, you are writing your proposals as well, right? So for that, you need to focus more. You have to study in detail, read in detail, right? So that is known as the intensive reading. When you are supposed to write any report, means this is for some purpose, right? There are subtypes as well, subtypes of intensive reading, that is scanning, skimming, exploratory reading, study reading, critical reading, analytical reading, and there is one more, developmental reading. Okay, so the first one that is mentioned here is scanning. When we talk about scanning, then as the name suggests, it is scanning to look for some specific info. It is a rapid reading assisted by keywords to look at a specific piece of information, especially for research, for review, get info that answers what, who, where, when, how. Looking for a word meaning in the dictionary, like for example, if you want to find out the meaning of scanning in the dictionary, right? When you open the dictionary, then you don't focus on each and every word that is written in the dictionary. What you do, you first of all focus on the S, then C, then you move on towards the particular specific word that is scanning, right? So your eyes are basically looking for the particular word or the particular meaning that you are looking for, right? Same is the case with any, like for example, you are studying for your research topics, right? When you go to the library, you try to find out books related with your research topic, then you actually start looking for the topic. When you find, like for example, if your topic is related with tisol, you try to find out the book related with tisol, right? In that particular book, you try to narrow down to your specific topic. That is known as scanning. Okay, you quickly go through the content list in order to find out whether this book will be useful or not. I hope it's clear. Then the second thing, or you can say basically this is the first step that we do, but it's not the sequence always, is skimming. Rapid reading focuses on the title, heading, topic, signpost to get the main idea. Like for example, you go to the library, you pick up any book, and then you see the title and the headings and topics, and quickly, in order to find out whether this book will be helpful to you or not, you're not actually reading it. In scanning, you focus on your specific topic, and then you open that chapter, and then you quickly scan through the chapters to the headings and the subheadings, right? Here, the focus is usually on the title page, the back side of the page, and the blurb. Blurb is the inner title page, okay, and the content list. That's it. This is skimming. When you are reading any paragraph, any book, then you quickly go through it in order to find out just the main idea of that thing. Like for example, you are doing your researches these days, writing the proposal. So you are going through different research papers, right? So you first of all quickly skim those research paper in order to find out what's in there, whether it is related with my research or not, right? That is the skimming. The third type is the exploratory reading. Exploratory reading basically aims to get a fairly accurate picture of the whole presentation of ideas, how the whole section is presented. A lot more time for reading. So you can say that this is a more detailed one. When you are reading each and everything in detail, then that is known as detail, or means carefully you are going through the whole text. You are not skimming here. Skimming is just getting the gist of the story or topic or chapter, whatever you are reading, in order to get the main idea of that particular thing. But here, focusing on each and everything. Like, uh, okay, for example, long articles in magazines, short story, descriptive text. I hope these three types are clear to all of you. We are going to do some more types tomorrow. Thank you. Fourth type of reading is study reading. That is the reading to get the maximum understanding of the main ideas and their relationship for the study purpose. There are different steps of study reading: surveying, questioning, reading, recording, reciting, and reviewing. First is surveying, when you survey or collect the data for your making notes or for making an assignment or any project. Second is questioning. When you have collected the data or the material for making notes or for your study for purpose, then you start asking questions related with the headings or the subheadings that are there in your material. The third step is that you start reading all those material. Fourth is recording. Then you start writing the main points or the important points which you have just read. Number 5 is reciting. At this stage or at this step, you actually try to mesh the questions that you have asked while you were collecting the data of reading, and when you have read and recorded. You start reciting and matching all those points, questions, and your reading material. Then last step is reviewing. In reviewing, you review all the final project or the study, whatever you have studied, whatever you have written in your notebook. Now let's look at the critical reading. Critical reading is questioning, analyzing, and evaluating the text. Use critical thinking skills to differentiate between facts and opinions, recognize author's purpose in writing, make inferences about purposes and characters, recognize the author's tone in writing, recognize persuasive techniques, propaganda designs to sway to believe. Right? So critical reading, as you have studied literature as well, so it will be clear to you that critical reading means to look at the text critically. And let me clear one thing, that critically doesn't always means to find out the negativities in any text or in anything or anyone, right? Critical means that you have to be neutral and you have to see what are the positive things or the negative things, right? So you have to differentiate between the facts and the opinions, the things that are mentioned in the reading text. You have to analyze and evaluate it. You have to ask questions. It is a bit, you can say, a further one step further to study reading. In a study reading, you are just analyzing the text, you are just understanding the text, and you try to retain that. You don't try to differentiate between facts and opinions, right? Like for example, let me give you the example of the teaching method that we have done, right? जब हम teaching methods कर रहे थे और हम method पढ़ रहे थे, मैं आपको डेमो दे रही थी और बता रही थी आपको, तो जब अगर हम सिर्फ एक एक मेथड पढ़ते रहेंगे तो that is a study reading. When you are reading any method, then that is a study reading. When you are trying to compare those any of the two method, let's say GTM and direct method, when you try to compare them, when you try to differentiate them, then that will come under critical reading. उसमें क्या था, इसमें क्या है, कौन सा ज़्यादा बेहतर है, कौन सा ज़्यादा सही है, तो that is critical reading. I hope it's clear, because further the other types are going to be more complicated, so this idea should be very clear to you. If not, please repeat the slide, listen carefully. Okay, so basically reader stops to consider the facts carefully, take time to read in order to get facts straight. Example reading done in periodics, books, ads which are loaded with propaganda devices designed to sway opinion. Like for example, you must have done in your media discourse subject, right? कि मीडिया डिस्कोर्स में आपने एड्स पढ़े होंगे और किस तरह से वो प्रोपेगेंडा यूज़ करते हैं, किस तरह से लोगों को मोटिवेट करते हैं, ये करते हैं कि मतलब वो ख़रीद लें चीज़ को, ठीक है? So that is when you are studying any particular such ad, then that is known as the critical reading. You try to find out what's the reality behind that particular ad or particular words that are written. Number 6 is analytical reading. Careful attention to each word and its importance in relation to other words in the sentence or the paragraph. Analytical reading is, you can say, a one step further to critical reading. Critical है, पहले आपने start किया exploratory reading. सबसे पहला है समझे skimming, then scanning, then exploratory reading, then study reading, then critical reading. And analytical reading is more detailed and more in-depth reading, right? For example, reading mathematical problems. It's not easy to understand a mathematical problems. You must have gone through this stage in your matriculation, right? Scientific formulas and certain definitive statements of key ideas that require a questioning and inquisitive mind. Okay, so it needs more intelligent mind, more attention in order to understand and focus on each and every word in their sentences and the paragraphs and their relationship with each other. Then the seventh type is developmental reading, when a reader is under a comprehensive reading program that lets him go through stages and monitors him closely. Basically, developmental reading is just like the reading courses, right? जो language centers में जैसे reading courses करवाए जाते हैं, PACC होता था पहले, मे बी अभी भी होता है, और कुछ और ऐसे language courses हैं जो reading पे focus करते हैं ताकि reading improve हो सके, राइट? सो दोज कोर्सेज आर इन मॉड्यूलर फॉर्म, एक मॉड्यूल हुआ फिर दूसरा हुआ, तो इस तरह से रीडिंग इन्हेंस होती है. वो सिर्फ इसलिए होती है कि उनकी कॉम्प्रिहेंशन इंक्रीज हो, उनकी स्पीड इंक्रीज हो, और दे आर मॉनिटर्ड, स्टूडेंट्स आर मॉनिटर्ड एट एवरी स्टेज एंड एवरी module. Okay, so this is known as developmental reading, when you are developing the reading skills of the students.